Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Drug Court. I'm Judge Martin. Got a couple of announcements. Hang on, I'm working on two different computers here. A couple of announcements that I wanted to make generally before we talk about the docket. First, I wanted to reiterate, some of you heard me go over this last week, but we've got a fun race coming up with Gulf Coast Runners, a 5K, so that's 3.1 miles. That is short enough for most of us probably to run it or walk it or a little bit of both in an hour or less. It's in Baker Park. If you haven't been there, it's sort of the south end of the Greenway. Really pretty, totally free park. And the race for drug court participants is also no charge. If you register through Nikki, she'll be able to get the entry fee waived. Feel free to bring folks, but if they want to do the race, I can't waive fees for anybody other than drug court participants. But it's March 27th, 7:30 in the morning is the start, and totally optional. They need volunteers. They're happy to have us come run. You can do both potentially, and wanted to make sure that you're aware of it. I think Nikki's been helping put the word out on that. And if you have any interest at all, then please get with her. She can get you registered, or she can get a list to me of folks who are interested in volunteering and so forth. That's always a really fun race, and we've usually had a good, strong drug court presence there. The other is that treatment asked me to be sure to remind everybody. I know that they are slowly making the transition back to at least some of the treatment events being in person. Some of you have already been a part of that, and treatment's been a little nicer than I am. They tend to do that, but everybody needs to make sure that they're doing what they need to do to have reliable transportation and be present on time. Being present on time means that you're there early enough to get your fees paid at the front window, and be in position, ready to go at the time that's designated to start. So treatment's giving you a little bit of grace, but heads up that I have asked them to phase that out quickly. It is part of life on life's terms that you manage these things. So allow enough time for traffic and all these things that Zoom world has spoiled us in not having to worry about these things. You got to line up reliable transportation. Bus pass is available if you need that. Leave enough time. Don't run errands on the way that make you late. I understood somebody who was late showed up with a cup of coffee they got on the way. That was probably a bad choice. But again, you've got a little bit of grace from treatment. I'm just giving you the heads up that I've asked them to tighten that up ASAP. So manage your time. It's part of what you are working on mastering while you're with us. I get it. In active addiction, there was no idea of time management. There was just use management. Although if you think about it, that was actually pretty seriously structured, right? You all knew exactly when and how and where you needed to get something. So this is different, and I appreciate it's a work in progress. It's a transition, but this is part of where we push you all to work on those life skills and get that done. So with that, I'm gonna go to the docket, and I've got, I'll note for Court Smart's purposes, I've got two people in phase 4 I typically call first. One is Ms. Robles, who does have an active warrant, so I do not expect to see her in court, and I don't see her in court. I do expect to see her in court, but I don't, if you catch my meaning. All right, and then the other is Ms. Sisemski, so I'll start with you. Ms. Sisemski, how are you doing?
Still feeling a little under the weather, Judge.
Okay. So talk to me about what went on, because you had a drug court obligation that you missed, and I need to really make sure I understand what went on there.
I started feeling under the weather about 5 p.m. the night before while I was at work. They sent me home. I got really ill. I was quite sick throughout the night. I believe I got dropped off to the emergency room by my husband. I might have misconstrued the time a little bit. I believe I was dropped off around 7. I probably made it back there about 8. I was there for a few hours. They did quite a few tests. I was throwing up blood, which is what inevitably led me there. They think I have there was a small tear in my esophagus from the forceful vomiting. I was in contact with the treatment team. They asked me to get a UA. I requested one, and I did believe that I received one. I've been informed that it was not. When I looked at the paperwork, I saw several UAs listed there, urinalysis. So it was my belief that one had been performed. And I left there, I filled my prescriptions, and I went home, and I've just been resting since. I turned my paperwork in on Monday for the hospital, and I took a UA then.
Okay. All right. So tell me this, because I was not aware until you just said it now. You did get a UA at the hospital?
I requested one, yes.
Well, that's not the same thing.
I talked to the nurse. He said he talked to the doctor. And then I asked again when I left. They told me the same thing that they had told me before when I asked. He said it was requested, it should be in the paperwork. So I saw several listed, and I don't really understand medical jargon. So when I saw a few listed, I didn't really pursue the issue any further.
Does treatment have the paperwork with that UA? Because that's not anywhere in the paperwork that I saw.
No,
I think
Your Honor.
It's on the back page. There's like 2 different urinalysis listed.
Okay.
Hold on.
Thanks, Nikki. It's Ms. Dixon for the record.
Could someone send me a copy of that paperwork? I haven't seen it.
Sure. Yeah, Mr. Darrow's requesting paperwork. Treatment shared with me just 2 pages that I think were a discharge summary.
Yes, I'm calling from David Lauren.
While she's looking at that, let me ask another question. The paperwork that I saw looked like you got out shortly before 11.
I saw that on the paperwork as well. I think that's when they typed up the discharge paperwork, but I actually sat there a little bit longer waiting for my IV bag to finish and for them to actually come in and discharge me. I don't think I left until about 11:45.
Okay.
And then I had to wait for my husband to come back and pick me up. So I didn't leave the hospital till a little after 12.
And did you make any contact with treatment at all when you were finishing up at the hospital there?
My phone died while I was at the hospital. And when I plugged it back in at home, I didn't see anything further from them. And I really was not feeling well. I think the medicine that they gave me made me really sleepy, and I slept the rest of the day. I did send Brooke a message the following evening, just to let her know that I was starting to feel a little bit better. But that's really all the contact that I had. I know there's some confusion about whether I was supposed to turn the paperwork in when I left. It was my understanding, I could have sworn Jason said to just turn it in on Monday. If I was supposed to turn it in, that was a misunderstanding, and I really apologize, but I could have sworn that he said to just bring it on Monday.
Okay. All right, Nikki, did you find anything about any urinalysis?
So I do see major tests and procedures. The following procedures and tests were performed. I sent it to you guys. So it does say a urine culture was taken on 2/27/840. I'm guessing that, would that constitute a drug?
Well, no, it would not.
Sorry,
That's okay.
Don't know.
But, I guess to answer Ms. Dixon's question, I'll answer it with a question. Ms. Sisimsky, what specifically did you say to the medical providers in asking them? Did you say, will you test my urine? Or did you say, will you perform a drug test or a toxicology? What did you ask?
I told them I was in a program and I needed them to do a drug test on me. And they said that they would.
Okay. Did they have any follow-up questions about how many different substances they should test or any of that? 6-panel, 8-panel?
No, they said they would perform a basic drug test. They also mentioned, they didn't initially perform one because I didn't come in asking, for prescriptions or painkillers or acting weird or anything. So, it wasn't something that was done off the bat. Because my initial question was, did you drug test me? And they were like, no.
Yeah.
But I did. I was like, is there any way you could drug test me? So,
okay. Mr. Darrow?
Yeah, the paperwork that I've got, honestly, even being working in this program for a while, there's there are two urine things on there. It says urinalysis, auto with reflex to microscopic and culture. It has some other stuff. I don't honestly know what it means. And then it says urine culture, quant, random urine, stat collected, lab collected. Honestly, I would think it would be reasonable to believe that those, I don't know that those aren't, I don't know whether those are or aren't urine drug tests for urine, but I don't even know what they are. So I would think it'd be reasonable to believe that that's what they were.
Is there anything, Mr. Darrow, that shows any sort of intoxicating substance and has negative or positive written next to it?
No, there's no results. It just says that they took the sample and did it, but there's no results one way or the other. And what I have only the only thing I have is page 12 of 15 though.
Okay.
Rex, I just sent you all the paperwork.
Okay.
Thanks, Ms. Dixon. Mr. Darrow, go ahead.
I'm just saying, if I would think it would be reasonable believing that they had taken it. Now, again, I don't see results, but I'm looking with everything else too.
Okay. Ms. Sisimsky, let me ask a slightly different question. You talked about going in the morning and not being sure about when you went, but talk to me about how that went. Because I don't think you don't reside with your husband, or do you currently?
I do.
Okay.
He's on call on Saturdays. So he had a few calls he had to take care of. So he couldn't stay with me in the hospital. So he dropped me off. I'm a big girl, so I could handle being in the hospital by myself. And then I called him from the hospital phone when my phone died to come and get me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you all go directly from your home to the ER, or did you stop anywhere?
No, we went right from here to the ER.
In which one's closest to you there?
I live actually right next to Physicians Regional on Collier Boulevard.
Okay.
So that's where we went. Yeah.
That's where you went. All right. And so you all went directly from your home together. He dropped you there, and then he went about his business until you were ready for pickup.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Let me just ask, Mr. Darrow, I appreciate the input you've had. I have not gotten, I know it's been sent, but I haven't been able to look at it yet, the paperwork. Anybody else on the team want to inquire or address anything that they're seeing on the paperwork or anything that Ms. Sisemski has raised?
Looking at all the paperwork, it says that those tests were done, but it doesn't say what it says laboratory orders. I don't see results for any of the tests done. I mean, there's, for example, the COVID test, there's no results on that. There's no results on any of the urine tests. There were several blood tests done. I can't tell what actually tests or not.
Okay.
There's actually three urine. There's another urine HCG, POC. I don't think that's a drug test. There are 3 urine.
The
Okay.
urine HCG is a pregnancy test.
Oh, then
Okay. Sorry about all the personal information. We'll try not to go any deeper than we have.
yeah. Well, there's no results of any of the tests, so I can't disclose anything.
Okay. Okay. I am looking what I just now have been able to see the one page that Nikki sent, and I just see the record of 2 urinalysis tests, but those would both be for diagnostic purposes. Neither looks to be a tox test. Ms. Sisemski, part of the reason, obviously, you probably can figure out the reason for the questions. I commented to the team that I'm not sure that I can remember a weekend or holiday drug test when I didn't have at least one person in the ER. It never fails. And y'all are reasonably healthy, and you have to know, and I don't want to overstate this, but you have to know there are a few things that raise the suspicions of a drug court team faster than an emergency visit to the hospital when a perhaps unexpected drug test pops up. And I have significant concern about that. You've answered the questions, and I think that team, I think I have to hold any possible response until we get more information as to whether there was, because Ms. Sisemski's given me a fact I didn't have this morning at staffing, which is that you specifically requested, you said, I'm in a drug court program and I need a drug test, and that they said, okay. And we're seeing documentation that suggests that may have been done. We just don't have the results. So I think we need to, did you sign a release for us already, Ms. Sisemski?
For the hospital?
Yeah, so that the team, the hospital would be permitted to speak with David Lawrence?
No.
Okay, so you may need to do that. I'll let the team address that, but it may be that we need to request from the hospital additional information. What
Judge, let me just be clear. I don't know that the ones I'm looking at right now don't look like they were actually drug tests, and there's blood tests also. So I'm not representing that the paperwork in it's just there were a lot of tests done, and I think if she asked for it, she may have thought one of those was actually a drug test.
Right, and I'm understanding that. I know you aren't seeing for sure that one was done, but between what we're seeing now and what Ms. Sisemski is saying, I think I can't rule out the possibility yet that test was done. And if Ms. Sisemski asked for it and reasonably thought that it was done, then I think that I have to hold my fire. So I'm going to just dig a little bit deeper to try to confirm what you're telling me, Ms. Sisemski, but it has me extremely concerned. And I'm sorry that you weren't feeling well. And if you were, that sick and seeing blood, then I think you did the right thing to get checked out. But communication is really critical on those sorts of things. And the fact that it happened right during a somewhat surprise drug test is concerning. So we're going to have to look at it and see what we can verify there. And then I will either take no action if I'm comfortable that you have complied with the instructions, or I may have to circle back and follow up if I am not comfortable that you followed it. The information I got from Jason, and I think that's probably, I know there were conversations with Nikki, Jason, Brooke, and that sort of lots of cooks in the kitchen is concerning too. But my understanding from Jason is he told you, have them drug test you and bring me the paperwork. And it sounds as though you did that, but that's what I'm going to look to verify. Is there anything else? I'm putting my cards on the table. Is there anything else that I need to understand in order to make sure that I'm thorough and that I give full consideration to what you can tell me here?
No, just that, I mean, I plan on following up with my doctor this week. I'm still kind of unable to eat solid foods. Kind of concerned about my health right now. So I'm just been taking it easy and taking time off work and just really making sure I'm in the best health.
Okay.
Not right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to make sure that you are doing what you need to do to take care of yourself. You know, I say all the time, your mental health, your physical health is every bit as important to us as your sobriety and your recovery health. So we have to keep the big picture in mind, and hopefully it's just a bug for a few days that you're going to be okay. But this is fair notice to everyone, and I know I'm being pretty heavy in this regard. Look, if I'm vomiting, I don't even want to talk. I don't want to do anything. But I'm not in drug court, and I'm not in a very serious felony alternative program. Communication is the key when life throws you some sort of curveball like that. Being specific, having documentation, turning it over promptly, and really helping us understand a good timeline of what happened when and why is ideal. So I know that's a lot to ask if you're in the middle of a roaring stomach flu or whatever it may have been. But just so you know, that's what we're aiming for, and that's how best to avoid these uncomfortable conversations after the fact. So we'll dig a little bit deeper. And let me just give one more moment. Anybody else from the team have anything that they want to chime in before I let Ms. Sisemski go for today?
Just can we what we need and who to get it to?
I think that case management will have to, I don't know, I guess we need to have Ms. Sisemski sign a release at Physicians Regional so that David Lawrence can speak with them and get those other records, or David Lawrence may prefer to just direct Ms. Sisemski to get them herself. I'll ask, let's see, here's Jason chiming in to me, hold on.
Ashley, whatever you want to do, we could do it tomorrow if you want to come here and I can help you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the only thing I'm concerned about is if it, you know, if they didn't actually perform the test, even though I asked for it, am I going to be penalized? Like, that's what I'm worried about.
Let's see what the information is, and let's see what the documentation tells us. You have due process rights here with us, so I have to have a reasonable degree of clarity here that
Yes,
you
ma'am.
didn't follow the instructions. So let's see what we can find out. And that's why I said the release will be helpful, because it's possible that somebody on the team will try to just talk to that nurse and see what we can find out. Okay. Okay. All right. So follow up with Nikki, and let's make sure that either you're running down the information or you've cleared it for David Lawrence to run it down, but we want to get that right away.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Well, Ms. Sisemski, at this moment, you remain in good standing. You're in the fourth phase, so I'll conclude with you. I'll let you drop off the call, but do follow up with Nikki, and anything they ask you to get, I want you to work on getting that very promptly, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Hope you feel better.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me check in next with Ms. Sweeney.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can, Ms. Sweeney. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Tell me what's going on for you.
Yeah, I had a rough weekend. It started on Thursday. I came home from work Thursday night, and I was living in a sober house, one of Sam's sober houses, and my roommate, the female roommate, was nodded out on the front porch. I tried to wake her several times. She would sit up and nod, and it was really bad. So I went to bed. The next morning I called Sam. I informed him of what was going on. He immediately came and did a pill count on her, and due to whatever happened with that, because it's her and her boyfriend in the one room, and then it was me and another guy in another room. And so her and her boyfriend were both asked to leave, but they were given permission to stay until the 3rd. So I came home from, that happened on Friday. I come home from work Friday night. Generally everybody's asleep when I get there. It's kind of late, and her and my roommate, they're both wide awake, candles going all through the house. They're both wasted. She runs into the room and goes to sleep. He's standing there nodding, and I took video and dropping pills at capsules onto the table and snorting them, like right in front of me. And I took video and I took pictures, and I thought about, I was going to leave right then. And I sent an email to Alex. I texted Brooke and Nikki, and then I decided to not leave. At night, late at night, I took my sleeping medicine and went to sleep, which I told them. I said, I'm just going to take my medicine and go to bed. So when I came in Saturday for the drug test, I let everybody know. I showed Nikki and Brooke Nikki and the officer that was there, the pictures and the video. And I said, I can't go back there. Oh, and also my male roommate took me to court. And at that time, like, he was signing some paper, I realized he's on sex offender probation, which I didn't know either. And
can I interrupt you? Because I want to clarify a couple things before we go farther. You said initially, when you discovered someone using that, you had reached out to someone. Was that Sam?
Yes.
Who's that?
It's his sober house.
Okay.
It's the New Hope sober houses. It's Sam runs them. They're his sober houses.
Okay. And so you reached out to him, and he indicated he was going to allow these folks to continue to reside there?
Yep.
And this is a sober house in which you have a male roommate?
Yes.
Forgive my surprise at that, but
and
are you kidding me?
in the beginning, when I was in treatment and discussing this with Sam, he had told me that my roommate was a man, but he was gay. He was a gay man.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, like, I didn't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah, I recall.
And so when I said something to my roommate that Sam had mentioned, he was gay. He's like, I'm not gay. And he confronted Sam about it. And Sam told him that he only told me that because he needed someone in the room that was paying rent.
Okay. And then you mentioned an Alex. Who's Alex?
It was my probation officer, Alex DeFoglio.
Okay.
I did not know at that time. Okay, so my phone took a dump on me, and I've been back and forth with Cricket all week trying to get this situation fixed. And so I've been having to use a phone that only works on Wi-Fi, which I let the team know. And so I never got any information that Alex was no longer my probation officer, but I still have my email, and I never got an email saying like my probation officer was switched or anything like that. Because I guess Alex went to Fort Myers this week. Okay, so, but I've reached out several times. I tried to call Alex, I tried to call Megan. I did finally speak with Megan today. So Saturday after everything, or was it, so Thursday night and then Friday night, yes, Saturday. After I let Nikki know, I left that sober house and I have moved somewhere else, and I gave them, I had given them the address. Everybody was texted the address on even before I left on Friday night. But I spoke to Nikki and I spoke to the officer that was there and let them know the situation and let them know that I could not, like, I couldn't go back there.
Okay.
I couldn't stay there. It was a totally inappropriate situation all the way around. And so.
Okay. So what's your plan?
So I did move in with a guy that I'm seeing. The team knows about that. They know the situation, and I'm going to stay here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure the team has expressed an opinion on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I share that opinion. This is, look, I'm not judging in any way, shape, or form, but everybody that I'm talking to right now shares the same challenges. Relationships are probably the biggest vulnerability. And you've talked to me about at least 3 different individuals in the recent past who have caused a toxic scenario for you.
I know.
So this person could be the greatest person in the world. I noticed he was arranging your pillows at the start of the call and has frequently been talking to you while we've been in drug court session. So believe me, I notice, I appreciate that he's, trying to do a nice job there, but this is not a good long range plan. Now, on an emergency for a night, I guess maybe, but there's just simply no way from a recovery standpoint that that's a good idea. And you know that. You could recite chapter and verse to me better than I could to you. So what's the plan?
I don't have a plan. I mean,
Okay.
This all just happened. Like I'm going one day at a time. That's what I gotta do. Like, I don't know.
Okay. Well, I get one day at a time, but I also know, and look, let me talk about what you've done right. You've spoken up, you've reached out, you've done a number of things. Something I wasn't aware of this morning that I was concerned about was, did you go through the proper channels with the sober home to try to get relief from this? Because typically in a sober home, you use and you're out because they'll protect the other residents.
Yeah, well, that's not the case.
Yeah, which is why that probably wasn't our first choice for the sober home for you. But, I
wasn't given any other choices, really. I mean,
I'm not sure that there were any others with availability, and
exactly.
you had suffered a relapse at your last sober home, which, as I understand it, disqualified you. Are you now requalified to go back to that old sober home where you were doing so well?
No.
Still can't go back?
No, they said I can never come back.
Okay, there's a sober home with integrity, but it's not helpful at the moment. I think
there were people using there that weren't asked to leave. So, I mean.
But you were asked to leave.
I was.
And forbidden to come back.
Yes. that is what they told me. Brooke was on the phone when they told me that. So.
Okay. Well, here's the thing, and I'm really not, I know it's awkward in court and I don't want to get into anything too personal, but we're deeply, deeply, deeply concerned about this living arrangement. And again, it's no comment on the individual. I don't know the individual, but there's nobody with any clean time at all that would say, what you should do is you should try a residential romantic scenario in the first 60 days of your clean time. You're not going to find anybody with any recovery street cred that's going to say that's a good move for you. So my hope is that you will work with the team, and particularly case management, to figure out a plan B, to figure out, okay, there's lots of people out there that may need a roommate with whom you're not romantically involved. And that's where we need to look. Because you just told me last week, I'm working on me. I'm looking at me. I'm gonna try to take time and work on this, because really, since I've met you, you've only been in one or more romantic relationships, and every time it has threatened your recovery. And I'm in a situation where, it's a felony drug court. So as sympathetic as I may be to all of that emotional journey, I have to hold you accountable. And if this isn't a good supportive situation, if, for example, that person is either not staying clean or has friends who are not staying clean, and that threatens your recovery, I have to hold you accountable.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not going to be, it's not going to be good. I'm reminded that we're now several jumps down a road where the recommendation was a long-term treatment program. We're still waiting to see what may come through on that. But what I worry about is that while we wait for that treatment opportunity, you make a series of choices that are ill-advised and get yourself in a situation that then is so bad, now the team won't even let me talk about treatment anymore. And I hope that doesn't happen. But unfortunately, with good intentions, Ms. Sweeney, I just have seen it happen so many times. And with people getting into a relationship fast, making that relationship residential fast, when they're brand spanking new in recovery and have high stakes in a criminal court, under no circumstances can I say that looks good. And we've been working together for months now. I've seen you do great. I've seen you be in a good setting. I've been your biggest cheerleader. So hopefully that gives me a little credibility when I just express tremendous concern over this, and the hope that you'll work with case management, figure out another pathway forward that keeps you safe and protects what you're working on here, not only in recovery, but also in drug court. I don't want you back in a jail cell. But the last time that a relationship started getting real toxic, that happened. And so, you're, from one week to the next, you've told me about some smart moves you've made to step away from bad relationships that weren't good for you, and to work on yourself. And this feels to me like a step in the wrong direction. And I understand the thinking. I understand, hey, look, Judge, I didn't put drugs in my roommate. She made a choice that affected me. I get that. But your choice to resolve that by moving in with romantic interest is very concerning, and certainly puts you in a very vulnerable situation. And I'm protective of you guys. I don't want you in a vulnerable situation. It's vulnerable enough when everything's going perfectly. So I can't order you not to live there. I would if I could. But I can strongly recommend that you work with treatment to see about a plan B. And here's how this works, just to give you one more piece of information. if you follow through and you take my advice and you make your best efforts to get on the track we're recommending, then you've got the full support of the team. If you turn down our advice and say, no, I got this, this is a good spot for me, then that's fine. The team's supportive, but the problem is you kind of tie our hands if then it goes sideways and we're all sitting there going, we just needed you to follow our advice. So you're an adult, you can make your own choices, but when you disregard the advice and the counsel of the team, you just kind of set yourself up. You better really be sure of yourself and the fact that this is in fact a good choice for you. If you say, no team, I'm gonna do this my way. It's a level of pressure I wouldn't prefer that you put on yourself, but you're an adult, you can choose to do that. You've got headphones on, so I assume then our conversation is at least private. Your significant other is not listening to what I've said or what any of your colleagues in drug court have said, correct?
No, not at all. Not at all.
So at least we've got that. But that all I really wanted to address with you was just a friendly warning. You're not in trouble. You appear to have done what we need you to do, but I continue to worry, and you kind of, not meaning to, you gave further evidence to support the recommendation that if we can get a bed somewhere, that you do in fact go to long-term treatment, because you don't have stable housing here. You continue to get into a relationship scenario which has so far been very unhealthy for your recovery. And it's really supporting our push to say, I think Ms. Sweeney should step out for long-term treatment for a while. If you're trying to lobby us to rethink that and let you stay in the community, this choice didn't help. And that's just me being as plain spoken as I can. So work with the team. I understand emergency decision making, but it's now been a couple of days. The team is here. And if we can find you an alternative, I'm going to encourage you to consider taking it. Put romantic stuff on the back burner for a while and get back to what you told me last week, which is, I need this time to work on me. If you're going to persuade us that you don't need long-term treatment because you're really doing great work here in the community, it's going to look different from this. Okay? So friendly warning and a word of support, but I hope you'll work with the team and see what you can do to reorganize this. If this is the right guy, if this is the guy that's going to go the distance, it's going to be just fine that you didn't turn it into something residential in the first 30 days that you're together. You'll wait. Okay. All right. Okay, Ms. Sweeney, that's enough Judge Martin lecture for today, but I do hope you'll follow up with the team and I wish you good luck.
Thank you.
Let me touch base next with Ms. LaBeouf.
Good afternoon, Judge Martin.
Good afternoon, Ms. LaBeouf. And let me, if I can just have you hang on for just 1 second. I have been trying, and I apologize for being distracted, but I have one time-sensitive matter that's just come through to me. So stand by for just a second. I'm going to mute my microphone, address this, and I'll be right back with you. If everybody would just be patient with me. Okay, thank you, Ms. LaBeouf. I just had to address something. All right, so how are you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good. I finally was able to make the transition from the Suboxone films to Sublocade.
Okay.
So I got that shot this morning. I feel a little bit groggy.
Is that the first time you've had that shot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But the nurse and the doctor said that that's normal for the first time.
Sure.
Just to take it easy, and I should feel better tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, treatment gave me the heads up that had gone on for you today so that I would be aware. So I appreciate them doing that. All right. And so all medication at this point seem to be working okay for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Good, good. And how are you doing? We've had an ongoing theme of time management. I know I mentioned it to everybody at the beginning here. How have you personally been doing with that lately?
I've been falling back a little bit. So I know I have to get back on the horse with it.
Okay.
And really step it up. My taxes are supposed to be in my bank account.
Okay.
By the 6th, it said that they will be sent out to me tomorrow, but the bank takes a little bit to, accept it. And then as soon as that hits my bank account, I plan on signing up for my DUI class in order to get my hardship license. So I should obtain that this month. And that will make everything a lot easier,
Okay.
for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I know that's such a critical tool. I've had dozens and dozens and dozens of people successfully go through drug court without a driver's license, or at least for most of drug court, the intense phases, they didn't have a driver's license. It can be done, but you're right. It will be a powerful tool for you if you can get that in place sooner rather than later. So that sounds like a good plan. So between now and when you're able to get that hardship, have you got some ideas as to how you can manage transportation and be places on time?
Yeah, so instead of having my boyfriend do the Ubers and everything, I've actually downloaded the app to my phone and I put my card on it. So I'm not having to cash app him money for it, or him not knowing how much it's going to cost and me having to pay him, which I think he was actually telling me to pay him more money than what it actually costed.
Okay.
So it's
User fee?
that, and then what was that?
I said he's charging you a user fee.
Yeah. He's something else, that one. Ooh.
Well, we I promise I'm not anti-relationship, but
No,
I
look,
know
I'm as soon as my taxes come in, also I plan on getting my own place. I'm not staying with him. I know he's not who I want to be with.
All right. Well, I know somebody who needs a roommate. So I don't know. Sometimes that works well, sometimes it doesn't. But, I just, please understand the spirit in which I hassle you guys. You're working so hard. I watch you work so hard. And then if you are in a living situation or a romantic situation or a work situation that's not really good and healthy and supportive, then it's like one step forward and two steps back, and you're working too hard to give up the two steps. So I want you to understand it's supportive, not negative, when I push you on that. The more you're able to establish some independence and some self-reliance, really the better you're going to be, and the better you're going to be able to down the road put yourself in healthy relationships, because there's unfortunately a certain personality type that loves women who have to rely on them. It allows for a lot of control and a lot of lopsided rights in the relationship, and it's really not ideal for you guys. I wouldn't wish it on any of my guys. I don't wish it on any of my ladies. All of you deserve healthy relationships. So I like your game plan. I'm hopeful that it comes together, smoothly for you, and it sounds like you're setting good priorities there.
And I can have my cats there. Even better.
Okay. Well, good. Same situation, similar situation to what I went through with Ms. Sweeney. You are not in any trouble, but just a friendly warning that time management, for you, it's time management. You really need to tighten that up, because if something is brought to my attention from this point forward, then I'll have to come up with some form of a consequence. Might not necessarily be earth-shattering, but you have a lot on your plate. So if you get a consequence added to that, it makes you even busier. And I know you'd rather not. So just try to manage what's already on your plate, stay in front of that, and then hopefully I won't have to add anything to it by way of consequences, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else that you wanted to address, Ms. LaBeouf?
No.
Okay.
Just about the 5K. You said it was a 5K, right?
Yes.
And it's at the park where?
It's
sorry.
Baker Park. So that is just off of Goodlet. No, it's just off of Goodlet Road at Central Avenue. So sort of downtown Naples, more or less.
Okay.
You're at, do I remember correctly that you were at Pincher's or Kelly's or one of those? Did you freeze or did I?
Your Honor, she froze.
Okay. Ms. LaBeouf, we lost our good signal together. It looks like you there you are. Now I see you. Can you say that again? I thought you were working somewhere near Baker.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, where are you working?
Pinchers.
Okay. So yeah, it's about quarter mile, half a mile from Pinchers.
Is it by Cambier Park? Or is it the same thing?
No, no, it's not the same thing, but Goodlet Road.
Yeah.
If you walked out of Pinchers and crossed 41, you'd be walking up Goodlet Road.
Okay.
And about a quarter mile, take a right on Central Avenue, and that is Baker Park.
Okay.
Yeah, so really close to where you work.
Okay.
Yeah, so talk to Nikki and...
Yeah, I told Nikki I wanted to do it because if it's, early in the morning, I can always do that and then just walk across the street to work.
Yeah.
So that would be, bring my work clothes with me.
Excellent. Well, that sounds good. Yeah, they've got a really pretty nice facility there. You'll have an area where you'd be able to change into work clothes and so forth, but it's totally walkable from Pinchers for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, we look forward to seeing you there. Yeah, just follow up with Nikki.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And let me switch over to Ms. Cologne. Ms. Cologne, how are you doing this week?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Tell me what's been going on for you.
Getting into a routine of waking up every day at 7. This past weekend was pretty hectic and I had just a depression night or day altogether, which got me sunburnt, but now I got a good tan going on because I stayed out of the house. And more or less, you know how when I got sanctioned for staying with my ex-boyfriend because of the dog?
Yes.
But I got him finally on Sunday.
I heard. I've been asking each week how the dog is doing. So Nikki was happy to report that to me today.
Yes, I sent Miss Nikki pictures, so maybe she'll send them to you, a collage of him.
Well, it's very similar to, I've had tough conversations with a lot of the ladies today, but I get it, for Ms. Sweeney, it was relationship, similar for Ms. LaBeouf. For you, it was the dog. I actually think it was the dog, not the relationship, that had you in the wrong place at the wrong time. But, we get it. And as a team, we're all human beings. We all have relationships and pets and so forth. And I said in staffing this morning, I bet at least half of this team has at least one pet for whom we would probably take a bullet. But by the same token, we're going to keep pushing you to make sure that you're making smart choices, because whether it's a significant other, a child, a pet, an employer, if you're not taking care of yourself first, then you're not going to be able to be what you want to be for that loved one. And so that's why sometimes we seem probably a little heartless, but we're going to push you hard, because that's what it takes to be able to be what you need to be for those folks, two-legged and four-legged, who are depending on you.
Yes, ma'am.
So you were able to convince your extended family to let you bring the dog over?
Yes. Well, Jerry, the only reason like I was still continuing talking to Jerry or whatever was because of communication with Minion. And me, like, I won't lie, the girl's grandma might be tiny, but she's still intimidating. She's tough. So when Jerry sent me a message saying that we need to figure something out or he's going to the pound, they euthanized him right away just because he doesn't know how to talk to people. He just likes to bark. So they would have considered him aggressive. And I'm in the room bawling my eyes out. So my nieces go and get Miss Cindy. And Miss Cindy comes in, sees me crying, like hyperventilating. She goes, tell him to bring him. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
So they rearranged the whole room in here. Now we have a big crate for Minion, which I slept in it last night. I know, guys, don't judge me, but it's big. But I wanted Minion to get comfortable, so I stayed in the crate with them, and it's been awesome.
Who among us has not spent a night in a pet crate before? I may have done that after a pet had surgery once. I get it. So tell me this, what can you do to try to make sure that Ms. Cindy ends up being glad that she did that kindness for you, and that she feels appreciated? And I don't mean money, but what can you do to just really make sure she doesn't regret that?
Keeping Minion maintained, and yesterday when I got back from group, we keep him in the room or in his crate because we have 4 other dogs. When I came back, I took Minion for a walk/jog until I started getting out of breath. And then afterwards, me and my little niece, who's 7, and my daughter, Allie, took the other 2 big dogs for a walk. Okay. And so she doesn't have to do that, and then make sure they're going to the restroom so they don't make an accident in the house.
Yeah.
And so, just keeping the house maintained and cleaned up for it.
Good. And are you looking for employment? Do you have employment?
I have been applying on Indeed a lot, and I'm hoping someone calls me back. I really, really want to work at this little, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like a grooming place right next to 7-Eleven out here. It's used to be Hungry Howard's, but it's now like a boarding/grooming.
Okay.
And so I'm just waiting for them to see. I've called every day, but I've always gotten a message. But Miss Cindy and Jenny knows the owner, so I'm hoping that they consider me. Okay.
Well, I want to make sure that you're on top of that. I know you've been with us for a little while. We give you a little breathing room to find a job, but then we start pushing you. So if something doesn't come together in the next couple of days, talk to your case manager. We can connect you with Career Source, which is right around the corner from David Lawrence, and they can help connect you to some places, help you get your applications out. But we definitely, I know that'll be another thing, if you're able to sort of help, pay your way there and so forth. All of that will go a long way to making sure that you don't wear out your welcome, and they're happy to have you as part of the household.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. And how are you doing adjusting to the drug court schedule and all of the rigorous things that we're asking you to do?
I'm getting pretty good at it. Adjusting to it. More or less. It's just the fact, I'll admit I was late to the goal board on Thursday. but because of like, I always make my grandfather leave 10 minutes earlier than what we or like a regular person should, because he doesn't go over 40 miles per hour.
Okay.
But there's like a 4-pile car accident on the parkway. So I've been doing pretty good, but I sent pictures, and then just getting along with the Zoom. Sometimes like when I do Zoom, it takes me a second to log in. It's like I don't know. I'm still working with that.
Okay. Well, just like you said, start early, whether it's Zoom or in person, build in a little extra time. You know you're right on time if you're waiting for just a few minutes for everybody else to catch up to you. That's the best goal. So keep setting that standard for yourself, and I think you're gonna do fine. But it sounds like you're getting used to everything we're asking you to manage and track, and so that's a good thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. All right. Anything else you wanted to address with us, Ms. Cologne?
No, just trying to get into the doctors, because like I said, this past weekend it was kind of like I had a rough weekend for myself. Like I haven't been wanting to like use until like really bad until this past weekend urge.
Okay. So has treatment got you an appointment for that?
Miss Nikki's working on that. She told me with Miss Brooke yesterday. Yeah.
Okay. Good. I'm glad that you're speaking up, and we'll work on trying to cut some red tape there and just make sure that you follow through and you're on time.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll try to get you some relief for that.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Cologne. Well, I'm glad it sounds like some positive developments, and keep holding yourself to a nice high standard. Kind of put yourself in Ms. Cindy's shoes. If somebody, came to stay and now they've brought their big dog and this, that, and the other, what would you expect? How would you expect them to behave and handle themselves so that you're adding to the family dynamic in a positive way there? I think you're right on track, but keep holding yourself to a good high standard. That's what we push everybody to do in drug court.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Great job. You're off to a good start, Ms. Cologne. Keep it up.
Thank you.
And Ms. Lewis, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Judge?
Good. What have you been working on?
Can you hear me? Okay. I have been, I've been chairing my meetings. I chair Monday night meetings, and I did end up getting that, I guess that the discrepancy of the $2.31 of my restitution. I did end up, me and Nikki got that paid, and I've been chairing meetings, and I was really excited to do the goal board, the vision board. So I have that kind of, I guess the idea is to be able to look at it all the time, and I kind of add to it if I find any more kind of driver's license things related, or things that I think I can put on there, I will.
Talk to me about that vision board a little bit. What is it, and why is it useful?
From what I understand, it's really I think I may have done it in like elementary school, or when I was younger, but even was it Natalie, Miss Ramsey says that she did one too. It's something you're supposed to be able to, kind of like a goal board, be able to plan out where you want to be in anywhere from 6 months to a year, or a few years down the road. She said it was eerily creepy how the things actually turned out, how things actually, it really was accurate. And I guess it's like, what is it, like programming your subconscious mind or something like that, to where it's you're setting a goal and being able actually to achieve it, because you look at it throughout the time. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's powerful stuff, and I will admit I wasn't always a big believer, but I have become one because I have seen the power of it, and really it goes by a lot of different names, but it's a similar idea that basically, if you are able to visualize what success looks like for you, and put some energy into visualizing that over time, you can create that reality. You can make that reality come to pass. And the same is true in the negative. If you spend all of your energy envisioning disaster and worrying about disaster, which really is at the core of anxiety, when we suffer from anxiety, then unfortunately you can also kind of make that your truth and bring that to pass. So I love that treatments got you guys working on this, because I think it's a big piece of the puzzle for what you're trying to do for yourselves.
Yeah, and a lot of us are into kind of the law of attraction, and the path of least resistance or most allowance, being able to actually let things happen. Obviously in our active addiction, there was not really any light. It was all bleak and dim, and it was like it just kept, the vicious cycle kept going on and going on and going on. And now that I've been in recovery for a little while, I feel like I'm understanding that I wasn't a bad person, that I wasn't a scumbag, I wasn't just a POS, like I am a good person. So actually starting to feel better about myself and moving forward, it makes things a lot easier, and the little things, the seemingly little things that I've accomplished, it's one of those that's the only best experience, is showing me that I can keep going, that I can, I can have a task and be able to achieve it. I mean, even me working at St. Matt's like I do, I was so worried about not being able to find a job, or not being able to have a day job, and not being able to, and now I have a place that lets me leave work to go to group and then come back. It's like I couldn't have even tried to envision, I prayed and prayed and prayed, but I wouldn't have even be able to get the nail on the head, as blessed as I've been, and just being able to let things happen, stop resisting and just let things happen. So it's definitely a process, and I have to trust process.
I think you're unlocking some really powerful thinking there, and I think that the one mindset for a lot of people in active addiction is to look at life as something that just happens to you, and you have no control over it, and you're just a victim of all your circumstances. But recovery challenges you to say, hey, I'm driving here. I can make some things happen. And a vision board takes that idea to the next level and says, let's really aim high. Let's think about exactly what you want to make happen for yourself. And I think that you're gonna continue to see just how much power you have in building this life for yourself.
Yeah, because I mean, and James and I always talk about I always relinquished my power, and it was like, I'm starting to realize now that, I was giving up all my power, and I just did give in to the circumstances. So now I can actually, we are creators of our own universe, and being able to, I didn't realize how much I was actually giving away before.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, before. So now it's like, it's nice and it's powerful, and it's, we can create things. We are creators. So it's just being able to almost taste it now.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of courage involved in that, because it's easier to be a victim who doesn't have control, and it's harder to be someone who takes responsibility for their choices and says, I can control what life I build for myself. So I applaud you for your courage, and I encourage you to continue. James, I saw you come on, and I didn't know if you wanted to jump in with something.
I just wanted to acknowledge the very, very solid work that Nicole's doing.
Good. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that, and I agree. I think that sort of thing, and starting to figure out, hey, it doesn't always have to be this way. I can imagine something better for myself, and if you can see it, you can be it, right? So
yeah. And
good.
James tells me no boys. No boys.
I promise we're really not the fun police or the romance police, but
Yeah.
We do know what works, and in that regard, Ms. Lewis, I'm gonna cut us a bit short because I want to check in.
Okay.
Miss Sweeney, can I circle back with you for a second? I just wanted to check on you. Are you doing okay, Miss Sweeney?
Yes, ma'am.
It looked like you were struggling and you were upset, and I couldn't tell.
No, I'm good.
Okay, all right. Well, will you do me a favor, Ms. Sweeney? Because I'm going to switch over to the guys here in just a second. Are you working with Nikki or Jason?
Nikki.
With Nikki. Would you give Nikki a quick call?
Sure.
Just check in with her, and then Nikki, if there's any concern that you have, obviously you'll follow up. But I'd appreciate if you just touch base with Nikki. I'm just worried,
Okay.
Ms. Sweeney.
Nope, I'm fine.
Okay.
right now.
Your Honor, Brooke's gonna
Yeah.
call Rebecca right now.
Okay, thanks, Nikki.
No problem.
I'll let you, Miss Sweeney, you can drop off the call. I'm going to go ahead and release all the ladies for the week and bring the gentlemen in. Keep up the good work, guys. Take good care.
Okay.
Great job.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, guys. Have a good week.
Oh, it says my name. What? Streaming live on YouTube.
Okay, good afternoon, gentlemen. Welcome to Drug Court. I'm Judge Martin. Wanted to start with a couple of announcements for everyone. First, I announced this, some of you were with me last week, so you've already heard this, but I wanted to let you know there is a really fun 5K race coming up with Gulf Coast Runners that is at Baker Park, Goodlet Road and Central Avenue, right off of that. March 27th, so the end of this month, 7:30 in the morning. It's a 5K, so that's 3.1 miles. Don't know if anybody's been toying with the idea of maybe trying to run or walk or do a combination run-walk. Also, they need volunteers. If you want to just go and help out, they'll be extremely appreciative if anybody wants to help volunteer. But Gulf Coast Runners is holding that event. And Nikki has all the information. I think she's already been helping me get the word out, so I thank her for that. If you're interested in doing the run, which again, you can walk, I'm signed up. I'm planning to walk it as fast as I can. I don't run, but I'll be walking it. But if you want to do it, then you need to sign up, and Gulf Coast Runners will waive the entry fee for anyone who is active in drug court. You can bring a roommate or significant other or a sponsor or someone with you, but if they want to do the race, they'll have to pay the fee. I can only get our actual participants complimentary entry fee. But talk to Nikki and do sign up. If you do sign up and you do the race, you get a t-shirt and other fun stuff. If you don't bother to register, you don't get any of the fun gear. So go through her and she has all the details. And again, if you're thinking about coming out to maybe volunteer and just soak up the good positive energy that goes with these races, that'll be tremendous too. I'll certainly be trying to do a little bit of volunteering before and after I go out and tear that course up with my walking shoes. So I wanted to make that announcement. Please see Nikki for details. You've got just enough time if you want to try to do a little training before heading out for that. And then the other thing is just an announcement generally. I know David Lawrence is making a move back toward in-person events. More and more of that will be happening. And as they transition to that, I want to make sure you all understand my expectations. It's been, I know there's so much that's been hard about Zoom, but for me personally, one of the best things about Zoom is there is no traffic jam. I don't get stuck at a red light. I have generally been on time for everything because all I have to do is log on. When you've got to start doing things in person, it requires a little more thought, a little more planning. You got to leave early enough in case there's traffic, especially this time of year. So I want to give you all the heads up that when you get in-person appointments with treatment, and hopefully eventually we'll have them with the court too, you're expected to be on time, which means you're there early enough for treatment to get your fees paid and get settled into your chair. For court, it's early enough to get through security and get into the courtroom. So heads up, as those things become requirements for you, the expectation is you're on time. If you're late, treatment has been asked to bring that to my attention, and then the team will work with me to fashion some form of a consequence on that. Just something I know you guys are all plenty busy without having to work community service or do any of the other things that we impose as consequences. So just try to make sure that you're on your game for that, okay? And with that, let me turn to the docket. And Mr. Reed, I'll take you first today. Mr. Reed, how are you doing?
See here. There, is that good? Can you hear me?
It is. How you been doing?
I've been doing great, Your Honor. I appreciate the question. I'm doing great. Been going through some stuff, with family, my mom particularly, but seems to be that, through diligence and consistent effort, we've got it squared away where, she's doing well, which makes my life a little easier. It really just came down to, for me, it was about trying to help her to get a better attitude, about what was going on. And it was not unlike drug court, to be honest with you.
Okay.
It was a lot of the same stuff, you know. Yep.
Yeah.
Trying to get her to realize that it's the best thing for her to do what she's doing. So yeah. But she has that attitude now. So we're looking at 10 days and we might get her home. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And so how are you managing everything that you need to manage when you've got a sudden, need to be a caregiver like that?
Well, a caregiver part, I'm pretty good at, because I'm diligent about doing that stuff with my mom, because I'm able to. But it was just the logistics of so many different doctors and so many different opinions, and I'm doing well. It was a lot of stuff, unexpected stuff, and to be real frank, it put my life off balance for a couple of 10, 12 days there. But I will say this to the credit of, my program, and I hate to say this, I mean, the history, but not just James, but James has been just a tremendous amount of support for me through the process, and your voice was in my head. It wasn't about using, but it was about showing up and acting in the right way where your voice was coming into my head, because I was angry. And I was full of all kinds of radical emotions, with regard to, it's my mom. And then I don't need to get into all that, but I was in many different situations where I had to really check my attitude before I entered into the situation. And I did that, and I reached out to not only my sponsor, but to James and, the people in my sober family. So good stuff. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, and are you aware of why we've asked you to appear this afternoon for us?
Because of my charm and general good nature. No, I am aware, Your Honor. And
generally, after we move you on, your charm is yours to enjoy.
Yeah. I am aware of it. James brought it up to me yesterday. It was the first I heard of it, and we discussed it. And I did speak to Mr. Darrow briefly. And they asked me to prepare for it. There's nothing to prepare for. I understand that there was a dilute on Friday, maybe a week or two ago. I don't know. The 19th, I think, was the date that James said. And James asked me so many questions. I said, the bottom line is my life was off balance, and I certainly wasn't anything deliberate in any way. I checked my medications. I don't have the same medication. My medication, so I didn't take anything by mistake. So I can't say that. But I can say that it was nothing intentional. I believe clearly that it came at a time when I was off balance and wasn't eating properly or in a orderly fashion. And that's all I can come up with for it. But I can tell you this, I have not relapsed, and I'm not in relapse mode. I've, been actually moving very quickly forward in my life. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and the context is that we had a situation there in January where we had you get us some medical information, and ultimately the team agreed that we would not take any action. We would just continue to closely monitor. You had very persuasively explained some adjustments that you had made with a medical scenario that should protect you going forward. And with the advent then of another dilute sample, I needed to have another conversation with you. And I'll tell you, the whole team underwent a pretty rigorous and interesting training a couple of weeks ago, actually on the 18th, the day before this test, with a national expert on these things. And he let us know what is and what is not acceptable, what is and what is not a valid explanation, and so forth. Dispelled a myth that I was hanging on to. Not eating really isn't a big deal. It's whether you're flushing a whole bunch of water into your system, a whole bunch of fluid into your system. Because he said, yeah, a lot of times people will tell somebody, well, just be sure you eat a power bar or something, and it's actually not part of not part of the scenario.
Oh, I was under that impression for sure. Yeah, that eating had something to do with it. But so go ahead. I'm sorry. Yep.
So, so the situation that we're in, we looked at the surrounding tests, and you know, you had, I think Ms. Burrows counted up for us 8 perfectly fine tests prior to this, to where that medical scenario was clearly well in hand and not reoccurring and so forth. So we're a little surprised when we got this. You know, obviously I rely on you, and if your statement is, Judge, I'm not using, then I can't second guess that. I can address the dilute itself and tell you that the situation is concerning, and I know James has been very good, very strong from his standpoint of trying to give you whatever support would be necessary if there's something that you need to be addressing with us. But from a purely legal standpoint, I don't have a valid test, and I have, you know, an interruption in drug court's ability to continually verify that you have not used. And the expert that taught us said it's a what did he say, a non-negative result. I think that was his word. Sounds like a lawyer, this guy.
Yeah, don't like double negatives.
Yeah, but I think that's what he said. It's not that it's a negative, it's not that it's a positive, but it's a non-negative. We're unable to verify sobriety. And so we talked as a team, and non-valid, thank you, anonymous team member, a non-valid. I think there's another word though. I think it was something like non-negative. It's also not valid. Anyway, as a team, we talked and we balanced out a couple considerations. As you know, when we're in a situation where we have something that is not compliant and we have to discuss and craft some sort of court response for that, we take into consideration how do we treat others with a similar situation, but also what's unique about this person's overall big picture. And with regard to your overall big picture, you've been doing very well. James speaks very highly of the degree to which you're engaged with him, that you are actively pursuing, you know, a strong program of recovery, etc. And that weighs very heavily in your favor. And as a lot of you guys know, on the other end of that spectrum, lousy attitudes, being rude or sassy, that's the other end of the spectrum that can really put you in bad shape on even a fairly minor violation with me. But you've been very strong. We cannot have this continue to happen. And the explanation that had been provided that you've repeated to me today just really doesn't give me any legal basis to spare you the consequence. So balancing out what's positive about this picture right now, which is very many things, and what's negative about this picture right now, which is that I don't have a valid drug test, the team has made a recommendation really a bit lighter than normal, but it is because it is our expectation that you're going to tighten up and ensure that this doesn't happen again, because if it does, I have to have a very radically different response. The recommendation the team made at staffing is that we would have a community service outcome, that you'd have 20 hours to complete, 10 days to do it, and the 20 hours would need to be at a location that probation approves. They'll give you the form to log the hours. 10 days takes you, today's the 2nd, it would take you to the 12th, which is a Friday, next Friday. So all of this week, the weekend, and the business week next week, but you need to get those to your probation officer by 4 p.m. So that they can notify the team that you're all set there. 4 p.m., that's March 12th, to have those 20 hours established. Do you understand what we're proposing and why?
I do, and Your Honor, I'd just like to clarify. real quickly that I was asked to come up with a plausible excuse, and I don't really have one. So the only thing I can tell you is that's the only thing is that my life was out of balance. So I'm not trying to come up with a reason for it. I don't know why, to be honest. But yes, I understand the situation the court's in, and I'm sorry that I wasted time for you guys to think about it, but that I accept the sanction. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I understand. Yeah.
And I appreciate all of your maturity and how you've handled that and addressed that. You've shown respect for yourself and for the court and for the team, and that goes a long way. I think my point in mentioning you're right, we solicited your input there. And my point in mentioning that is to distinguish it from January, when we did have something that was documentable from a medical standpoint. I just wanted to explain why now
Sure.
and not then.
I understand.
But with your statement there, then I will impose that sanction. I'll sign that order and just direct you to follow up with probation either right away now, because I'll let you drop off this call since you are post moving on, or first thing tomorrow. But get the form that you need and figure out where you're going to do it. It's a little bit of a tight timeline intended to keep you busy and get you moving here, and then you'll get that turned in, and we'll just keep moving forward. You need to keep up the great work you've been doing with James.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Reed, so I'll let you go with that and follow up with probation to get that all lined up.
Right away. Thank you.
Okay, good luck.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, and let me touch base next. Let me touch base next with Mr. Ferreira. I think I had him last or darn close to it last week, so I'll try to switch it up a little bit this week.
How's it going, Your Honor?
It's going okay, Mr. Ferreira. I need to keep it a little shorter than we did last week, but you were new and enthusiastic, which I love. How are things going now that you've had a full week with us to kind of get used to things?
Yeah, things have been moving along. I've been taking your advice and slowing down.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Listening a lot more. Going to meetings and just taking care of a lot of the stuff that I need to take care of, the license, looking for work, focusing on my medical and with my clinician. I met with the clinician this week, trying to get on the right kind of stuff, and just speaking and talking to them, and just everybody's been helping out. You know, I'm getting past, you know, the first time jitters, working the program. You know, everything is glory to be to God, you know, thank God every day. You know, working on my, you know, the only relationship that I'm working on right now is with God. You know, I don't need any distractions. Meditating, practicing prayer.
Yeah.
Trying to just check off the goals, making small goals and checking them off, you know, calling the IRS, the driver's license, and I'm able to check these things off. Writing things down has been important to me, you know, where in the past I wouldn't use these tools and exercises. So I've been, you know, I just bought like a notebook, and I always have a pen around so I can write things to remember.
Yep.
Opening up with my peers, opening up with the guys in the group, identifying things and being able to express my feelings, where, you know, as a man, you know, we're not taught to show these emotions and feelings.
Yep.
Reconnecting with family, and that's it, Your Honor. Just really working this program. I'm really psyched up about it, and then everything. I signed up for the race.
Okay.
Utilizing the gym, trying to get myself in a mental state and focused on, you know, like almost like a therapy, like a physical therapy in a way too. So where before I would, you know, self-medicate, and so I'm going different avenues as far as that. You know, I have more of a purpose in life, and
yeah,
that's it. You know, a prospect for a sponsor. I went to a 24-hour club, so
okay.
Not gonna mention any names yet, but you know, hopefully got some prospects in mind.
Great.
Yeah.
Good.
Fantastic.
Well, you were the newest guy in the group for 1 week, and we've got somebody who's even newer now. So Mr. Quinnell joins us today, being brand new, and you shared a lot of good stuff. I'm hopeful, Mr. Quinnell, you could catch all of that, but trying to slow it down, writing things down so that you can keep track of it all, working on just some little goals that you can try to, make a list and cross it off. All of that really good newcomer advice, Mr. Ferreira. That's all good stuff right there, and it seems like it's working for you.
Yeah, it really is, Your Honor. I'd like to thank the team. I'd like to thank you as well for giving me this opportunity. It's truly a blessing. And for the new guys, man, this really works. Don't believe the hype in jails and from what other people say.
Yeah.
These people actually are genuine and want to help you. They like success stories. They don't like failure stories. So for those that are new and that I'm only 2 weeks in, 2.5 weeks in, and this has truly been a blessing for me. And everybody's been great.
Good.
With everything, the whole team from Nikki to James, Brooke, Jason, Gabby, everybody's just been tremendous. Your Honor, with the great advice that you give me, and it's genuine. It really is genuine, and it's coming from my heart as well. I'm
Good.
able to express that.
You talked about 2 other things that I think are really helpful to the whole group, and I think will resonate, and they're totally unrelated. So. First, you talked about trying to hit the gym or one way or another move around a little bit, especially when you're brand new. There tends to be a ton of nervous energy, anxiety, stress, and moving around, even if it's just to walk to the end of the driveway and back 20 times, whatever you can access. We do have gym memberships, so talk to your case manager if that's something you'd be interested in and comfortable with. I'm not in gyms yet. I'm still a little more cautious than that, but I'll get outside and move around. But really, especially when you're brand new and the nerves are there and you got a lot of that energy because you're fresh out, that moving around can be such a lifesaver. And then the other thing that you mentioned that I thought was so important, Mr. Ferreira, is getting used to the idea of opening up. I think it's easier to open up to a group of guys than it is to a group of mixed men and women. But, our society is so brutal in pushing guys to be tough, to man up, to, hide all of that emotion, and recovery pushes you to go the other way. And I get it. There's a lot of culture that we have to kind of cut through. This is one way I think maybe the ladies get a little bit of a head start because society tells them it's okay, but we have to kind of create space where you guys build trust and feel safe doing that. It sounds, Mr. Ferreira, like you're pushing yourself to build that trust early on and take advantage, but I know that it goes against the grain a little bit, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah. Well, I love our clinicians are both so great, case managers too, at trying to just get ahead of that and establish that trust with you guys early on. But definitely a big key to success. The sooner you can push through that culture and push out of that comfort zone and open up about whatever it was that helped get you to us and create so much chaos in your life, the sooner we can help you deal with it and help you avoid ever having to go through this stuff again. So off to a really good start. Well done.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just want to say thank you again too. I know that you made a contribution for the gym, and I just want to personally thank you because it really does help me mentally, and it's my time to make myself feel good. So I know that you did you made an effort and made you put your part in there, and Gabby and just everybody in the team, like I said. But absolutely, thank you.
Sure.
And
sure.
Yeah, this has been a really life-changing opportunity for me, and I just want to thank you again. I've been also looking for work, but I'm taking it really step back and focusing on myself. But I am looking for work, and that's things that I'm reaching out to my team members to help me with these things, because I don't want to take this as I'm going to kick back and just relax, but at the same time I want to be focused on the main objective here, and that's responsibilities in life, and that in reality we have responsibilities. There's things that we sign or that we do in life that we have to fulfill. So just want
Yep.
to say thank you to everybody and just
Sure.
know that I'm working hard, Your Honor.
Good. And the best way to thank anyone, and look, there's a lot of people from the community, including Gulf Coast runners, that help finance stuff like the gym memberships. But the best way to thank them is take good advantage of it and take advantage of the opportunity we're offering. So you're off to a great start on that. I just encourage you to keep it up, Mr. Ferreira. Great job.
Will do, Your Honor. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Let me switch to Mr. Leyva and touch base with you, Mr. Leyva. I know tough conversation last week. You handled it really well. Tell me how you're doing and where's your head this week?
First of all, good afternoon, Your Honor. I'm doing pretty good. I'm working really hard on everything that I have to do. I'm still focused like before, you know. And like I said before, I apologize for the misunderstanding that I had with the ladies on David Lawrence. I actually went there and I apologized personally to her.
Great.
I met with James. I met with Brooks. I met with Nikki. You know, I've been doing all my meetings, working. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. You know, I'm really focused on the things I do. I have a clear vision and a purpose. So, you know, which is lifting up my family. You know, having my own barbershop and get myself to what I want. You know.
Good.
Tomorrow, Thursday, I had to go to Miami to finally get my my warnings of the arrest out, so I can get my license, my driving license.
Okay. Have you cleared all that with probation?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. I did.
Good. Excellent.
So everything is being pretty good so far. You know, working hard.
Well, and I'm really glad to hear that, Mr. Leyva. And I got a similar report. You'll be happy to hear. I got a similar report from David Lawrence. They said that really you seem to have recommitted and you know, you're putting your best foot forward and just kind of, you know, regrouped and come back fresh and dedicate yourself to really taking good advantage of this program. So, you know, when it's easy for me to say sitting here, but I've watched so many guys come through this program. And what happened last week, you know, has happened to a lot of really good folks. There's stress and confusion and whatever, and sometimes emotions get in there, but that isn't the important part. The important part is you got something thrown at you. How did you handle it? How did you come back from it? What did you do with it? And unfortunately, you know, I worry every time we have those sorts of conversations, I have to hold people to a high standard and hold them accountable, and I will. But I always, you know, say a little prayer that this will spark dedication, because the other possibility, sometimes people just go, well, drug court really is a setup, I give up. And I'm always worried about that. So I was happy to get the report this week that you stood taller, you came back stronger, and you're showing us your best self now. That's what I want to see you continue. And I'm really proud of you for handling this situation well.
Thank you, Yana. I appreciate that a lot. I mean, like, yeah, I've been working really hard myself. There is a lot of things that I still got to work on, but
sure.
I believe that I got this and I can make it. I can be better, you know.
Absolutely. And I know I don't know any of the details. I don't need to, but I know David Lawrence has set up a game plan with you, and they've told me that you're on board and you're giving it good energy, and that's really it. And just to you know, when you have those tough days or something's frustrating, to try to use some of the skills that you're going to be working on there, because look, long after drug court, there's going to be hard days. We know that. But what we're trying to do in our short time with you is to really push you and teach you and give you things that you can use so that you know, you can handle those hard days and not have any setbacks, that you can get done what you need to get done. We're really confident that you're in the right place and that you can take great advantage of this program. We just want to, we're going to continue to push you and hold all of you to a really high standard. You up for that?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good, good. Mr. Leyva, great job, and keep asking for help if you need it, okay?
I will.
Welcome back. Let
Thank
me touch base with Mr. Paradiso.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. How are you?
I'm doing great, Mr. Paradiso. How are you doing?
I'm doing really great. Finally, I'm adjusting to the new time that I have to wake up for work. But I finally have a job that I actually enjoy going to. So
what's that?
I actually, one of the group members actually got me a job with him. So now I'm doing golf court maintenance.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's really good. It gets in the way of nothing, absolutely nothing, and I actually can work a full-time job, which is amazing.
Okay.
But the main part is it gets in between nothing at all, because I'm always up. So it's awesome. Everything is, as I said last week, everything is exactly how it's supposed to be right now. I hear that for the first time in my life. It's finally going like that. And
it's so you're working with Mr. Brestel up at the golf course?
I am. I didn't want to say his name, but yes.
Okay.
I am working.
So that's just really early. Is that what you were saying at the beginning?
It's just the waking up part.
Yeah.
We start at 5:30, but it's the waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, getting ready. It's
big deal.
But as I said yesterday in group, the other day I looked up and the moon was still out, and all I could think about is what I used to do when the moon was. I was doing nothing. I wasn't working, and I'm actually doing something positive this time. So it definitely took me back a little bit, in a good way.
Sure. Yeah, those moments are little blessings. That's good stuff. And, depending on when it was, handful of nights ago, the nights and mornings, the moon's been really spectacular.
Huge,
it's pretty cool.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. And not only that, all these animals in the morning. I think I ran into a pack of deer yesterday. Like
not
10,
literally.
I didn't hit them, but they were arm's reach, like a pack of. I'm sorry, I was getting a call now, so I don't know if I went off the screen, but I'll just let it go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, just turn the camera back on.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the call to go. I don't want to decline it because last time I did, it took me off Zoom.
Oh.
Let me. I'm gonna decline it, but pardon me if it.
That's okay. While you're doing that, I'm going to turn to James for a second. James, did you want to jump in with anything?
No, Your Honor. I just want to acknowledge that we have a very, very strong group of men, and it's a pleasure working with each and every one of them.
Good. Awesome. I always want to make sure if anybody else on the team is jumping in that I recognize them. There's been really good feedback, and I think that I'm hopeful, Mr. Paradiso, that this ends up, this particular job being a good fit for you. We'll just move that ball forward a little bit. Now things are starting to fit together and come together and pick up speed for you.
It definitely will. I feel that way as well. I mean, the car is a big help. Being back on the road, I can't stress that enough. It gives me the time to actually work that full time, opposed to waiting for an Uber and so forth. But yeah, this job, I think it's going to be even well after. I'm going to be in it well after drug court. That's the goal here. Trying to set a foundation somewhere, some longevity in there.
Good. Well, I think that's fantastic. And Mr. Paradiso, I'm thrilled to be able to incorporate your 2-week incentive that you earned and move you forward to phase 3 today. Congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been I can't say a long time coming, but I've been anticipating it, because just like the guys say, you hear all these bad things in jail. So it's good to be not the statistic that they're portraying, the good part of it. So it definitely means a lot, not just for myself, but the fact that everybody else sees it as well.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the most important things that we try to do with our phasing system, is just to give you that feedback and to make sure that you realize you're being seen, that the progress is being recognized, and it's I know there's a very powerful mythology out there about drug court being a setup and so forth. And look, I get that can really kind of weigh on your mind. But now that you've been with us and seen how it goes, you know, not for nothing, Mr. Paradiso, but you've seen firsthand just how much time and energy every single member of this team puts in. We quite literally don't bring anybody in that we're not confident it has a good chance of success, because otherwise we're just wasting our own time. We don't do that. So the guys that want to believe it's a setup, I don't know whether they think that I make an extra $1 million a year for doing this.
I've said that.
Most of us are volunteers who already have a full-time job, other than the DLC professionals. You know, the prosecutor's got a full caseload before she comes to drug court. So does the public defender. So does the judge. We're here because we believe you guys need it and can do it. So we love being able to watch the progress and to mark it and celebrate it with you guys as you reach these little milestones along the way. It's been a pleasure, and there's a lot more to come, I know.
Yeah, it definitely has. 7 months already. So yeah, time is flying by, but it just, as you said, it just feels good to actually, you know, get ahead and not be what they talk about in there. But at the end of the day, it's if we want it, you know, it's how it's program. And if we want it, we're going to succeed. If not, you know, we're just going to be exactly what they're telling us.
Yeah.
You know?
You make your own truth.
Exactly. There you go.
Well, and it's you know, I note that a lot of you, not all of you were able to, but a lot of you did get up really early in the morning and get out there with us in the cold. And James, who just did it out of the kindness of his heart, but got out there and worked hard, gave back to the community and earned this little bit of time. And hey, 2 weeks early for phasing up is a big deal. And you earned that. So I'm happy to be able to recognize it and also to give you that little thank you, you know, to recognize the hard work, the extra efforts that you've been trying to make.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate it. I really do. Yeah, this curfew now at this time that I work, it's honestly going to be, it's giving the probation a break. As I said before, it's one of the clinicians. It's just giving, because I'm asleep by 8 o'clock now.
Well, now you've got the curfew on the early end because you're having to leave before 6 a.m.
That helps. Yeah,
it'll help you that way, because I will sign the order that will lift that curfew. So yeah, you're right. The job kind of helps keep you honest anyway, but do be smart. If there's an occasion going on with family or anything that may cause you to change your schedule, just be smart. And it just, you know, after 10 o'clock, you got to be, I think, 10 times more strict about who's with me right now. What are they up to? What might they have in their pocket, right? And just know who you're with.
My family lives in Miami. So yeah. Everybody's in Miami. I can't stress that enough. Okay. It's just me and my girlfriend out here.
Okay. We'll keep you smart.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody that's been helping me along the way. James, Brooke, when I was in groups with her, everybody's awesome.
Keep doing what you're doing, Mr. Paradiso, and keep being a strong contributor. I hear that phrase from James, and it means a lot to me. I want to see you continue to do it. You know, there's a few of you guys on this call now that have worked your way into the senior half of this program, and we've got some new guys too. So I expect to see some leadership and some acts of service and kindness to your newer brothers, to, you know, pay it forward.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just as it's been going, it's only up from here. I leave a mark at the end of, the end of all of this.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, Mr. Paradiso, congratulations again, and keep up the good work. Well done.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Let me touch base next with Mr. Spadarico.
Hey, how you doing, Judge?
I'm doing okay, Mr. Spadarico. You're in the dark. You got any lights in that room?
Yeah, I can turn around here. Let me turn around.
Flip it around so that you face the window.
Yeah. I was going over my homework that you gave me on honesty with my my sponsor.
Yeah.
I have it here.
Okay.
We did a.
That's better.
There, we're good.
Yeah, much better.
Well, we did like a play out honesty, and he had me go through a couple scenarios and how it would be positive in the end, to be honest, from the beginning. And is I wouldn't have served a jail sentence. That was one of them.
That's a big one.
Yeah, and I kind of did it like I was a character in this, and it seemed like that your character is well grounded when you have the right foot in the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was trying to, I like to analyze a little bit as I'm reading, and it promotes recovery. It helps you respect yourself, is something that you just said to one of the other guys, and it improves your relationship. I don't know if it's improved my relationship yet because we're still working on that. However, the honesty thing, it's big. Honesty is big. It's all about respecting yourself. It comes within, and you don't really have anything if you're not truthful to yourself.
Yep. I think that's a great exercise, and I think thinking of it as just a role play and play the role all the way through. We talk also about play the tape all the way through when you consider making a certain decision, but that's really powerful stuff. And I'm glad that your sponsor was up for participating in that with you and kind of helping you think that through as a group, because that's exactly what needs to happen. You probably haven't had your last tough day. You probably haven't had your last temptation to use. I pray you've suffered your last relapse, but we don't know. But if you are in a position to really build those muscles on honesty, then you're gonna navigate those situations safely and protect your recovery. So I love that you're putting some thought into that.
Yeah, like I said, I have actually a lot of papers on it. We also did an IOP. I also brought the same thing up, and we did a 3-hour deal with some of the people in there as we were doing our check-ins. We did a little bit of honesty with Ashley as well. So she covered a little bit of in-depth scenarios, and it's like I'm kind of ashamed to a point that not being honest with myself could have solved a lot of problems earlier. But you gotta move on. I can't cry over spilled milk. I just get to mop it up.
Yeah, there you go. And I push everybody hard to try to move past that. I get that there's a certain amount of shame or guilt or whatever form it might take that naturally comes along with a relapse. But as quickly as you can try to process that out and just worry about moving forward and focusing on building your strengths, that's really what we're going for. And nothing that I or the rest of the team will throw at you is ever intended to set you up to dwell on any of that guilt, shame stuff. It just isn't helpful.
Right. No, and I understand that. I do.
Yeah.
James went over a couple of things with me too this week. He's been on me. He's not letting me go. We're doing our trust issues, and other than that, I've been good. I've been working. Things are going good. I got my other truck on the road, the work truck, after it blew up. So things are good.
Tell me again where you're working.
I work for Kenny's Clearing.
What do you do with them? What's that? Is that landscape stuff?
We pull up trailers. We work out a lot in the estates.
Okay. You say you're clearing land?
Yeah, we do. Well, I personally don't clear land. The Bobcat does. And then we go there and we pick up the little pieces and we get them in the trailer. And, sometimes I'm there to collect the money for the job and just whatnot.
Okay. That's hard work. That sounds like good, honest work that'll lead to a good night's sleep.
Absolutely.
Good. Well, Mr. Spadarico, I'm really pleased to hear you're doing well and that you're pushing yourself forward and really trying to focus on the lessons here. Keep that up. I think that you're getting yourself into some good new territory. Great job.
All right, thank you, Judge.
Let me touch base next with Mr. DePasquale.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Afternoon, Mr. DePasquale. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. How about yourself?
Good, good. What have you been working on?
You know, I've been working on my health, you know, with my leg and all that stuff, but
Right.
this week's been good. You know, I haven't had any doctor's visits, so I've kind of got my routine back. You know, I'm still working at St. Matt's in the morning.
Good.
And, yeah, you know, things are good. You know, got my routine back, so I'm doing a lot of meetings. Doing St. Matt's. I'm chairing a meeting on Saturday. You know, it's funny. This morning, I just had a one-on-one with Brooke, and I was telling her we were doing my treatment plan, me and Nikki, and she asked, what she asked? Oh, name some accomplishments that I've you know, some things I've accomplished since being in drug court. And, you know, right away, you know, I went to think about it, and like the disease, of course, tells me like I haven't accomplished anything. So I couldn't think of anything. I'm like, I don't think much, you know. Yeah, I'm clean, and that's good.
Yeah.
And then she worked with me a little bit and got to, you know, like, okay, like I'm working with a sponsor, I'm working my steps, I'm chairing a meeting on Saturday nights, I'm working at St. Matt's, I'm volunteering at St. Matt's, and it's like, God, all of a sudden all these things come out, and I'm like, oh yeah, wow, you know, I've things are pretty good, you know, and yes, I have accomplished quite a few things, and I plan on to continue to keep you know, accomplishing things. So it was just pretty, it was pretty wild how you know, if I don't think right, you know, the disease can kind of get me, you know.
Yeah, well, it's the power of perspective there, and sometimes, you know, seeing ourselves through somebody else's eyes can be helpful, or at least just let us remember that we're bringing a perspective that might not be totally accurate, and maybe we should look at trying to shift that a little bit.
Yeah. Somebody just help spark it for me, you know.
Yeah, there's an awful lot going on. That's good.
Yeah. So I'm busy and things are good, and you know, I really can't complain. I don't have a whole lot to complain about right now.
Good. Well, I know that the routine we talk about a lot, and I know how much you've enjoyed yours and how challenging it was when that got disrupted. So being able to kind of get that back is a big deal. I know that from personal experience. You know, things flare up sometimes, and we have to address them. But boy, once you get that chance to get back into doing those things that keep your head nice and calm and so forth, it's a big deal. You value that. You come to value it when you lose it for a little while.
Absolutely.
Good. Anything you need from us, Mr. DePasquale?
I don't think so. No, everything's pretty good right now. You know, I'm doing a one-on-one with Brooke every week right now, which is really great too as well. So that's kind of added in. And no, I can't think of anything else needed really. Things are really good right now. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I hope you'll think about maybe joining on the 27th. I know you're going through physical therapy and stuff, but hopefully maybe we can put you to work or do something. I'd love to have you be a part of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I do plan on volunteering for that for sure.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, I did tell Nikki and Brooke that as well. So
great. I appreciate it, because I know, you know, I paid attention at the half marathon. I know a lot of you were out there and brought just such a positive attitude at such an early hour. I'm not a morning person, so I was really impressed. But I know the Gulf Coast runners really appreciate whenever we can pull some of our folks together and bring that energy their way. So that'll be wonderful if we can get you out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I enjoy those as well. And I am a morning person, so it actually works well for me.
Good.
I enjoy the mornings. So, and just the camaraderie of the whole day, it's really good. So I will definitely be there. Yeah.
After we get you through the physical therapy and all this other stuff you're working on, then we'll work on having you walk one of these 5Ks with us. But for now, I know you gotta prioritize taking care of yourself, but come be a part of it anyway, for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you, Your Honor. Yeah, I definitely will.
Awesome. Keep up the good work, Mr. DePasquale. Great job.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Barfield, let me check in with you.
Hello, Your Honor. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I am doing well.
What are you working on?
Just same stuff, MRT stuff. Really, let's see. Last week, the only thing, I guess the biggest thing to this last week that my recovery helped me with was, so my boss went to Puerto Rico last week, and basically I got the responsibilities of pretty much running the company while I was gone. He forwarded all his calls on from his phone to mine. You know, I had to pick up some extra jobs and stuff to do because he was gone. So,
Okay.
and, you know, I just hit my 14 months of the 28th. So, I mean, just that and just having everything back together, just, it went pretty smooth. I mean, I was stressed and I was running around like a crazy person, but
Sure.
I mean, I got it done and everything got finished, and he was pretty proud. He started gave me incentives. Like I've been bidding little jobs and repairs and stuff, and he's giving me a percentage of stuff when I do that. So that's pretty good.
Okay.
A little added responsibility without really too much more work. So
Okay.
just,
Well, how nice to be able, you know, to come from where you started and to have earned someone's trust to the degree that they've left you in charge of, you know, the business that they have built by hand. That's a big deal.
absolutely. Yeah. I don't want to let him down, and I didn't. So
Yeah,
pretty
there
proud
you
of
go.
myself. Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go. Well,
only-
go ahead.
Go ahead. You're good.
I was just going to say that you know, this is where you see, sometimes I have folks, and I think somebody was talking to me a little while ago, might have been Mr. Ferreira, or someone was talking about maybe doing their own business.
Right.
And this is where I caution people, because when you're in charge,
Yeah.
the pressure goes up 10 times, right? And you don't want to let anything happen. Whereas when you were the guy who was just part of the team working, I'm sure you gave 100% a solid effort, but it's just different, isn't it? When you're the guy who's in charge.
Yeah. And having this time, you know, clean time behind me definitely helped, you know, that I've, you know, got myself together now and everything working on. So yeah, it was good.
And that's the point. You work up to that. You don't necessarily try that when you're in, you know, the first phase or the first few phases. But when you get deeper in and you've really got some foundation, and some of the drug court requirements have backed off a little bit, now you can start to test drive some of those skills you've been building.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Well, I love it when businesses take a chance on our folks. And I love it even more when our folks make them really glad that they did. And that sounds like the scenario that you've put your boss in. So good for you.
Thank you.
Now tell me what you're working on from a recovery standpoint these days.
Just MRT. I'm still doing CODA meetings once a week we do them on Monday nights. It's Zoom because they don't have any around here. We have house meetings here where I live, and it's like AA. So we do like a book study, and just the MRT stuff.
Okay.
I'm still on it. I'm still doing it.
Okay. Well, and this is good because you're at the point in the program where it can be tempting sometimes, and maybe that's the wrong word, because sometimes I think it's just accidental and negligent, but sometimes folks ease up a little bit at this point, or they get comfortable. They let their guard down a little bit. They get busy at work because they get more responsibility, and it becomes important, and it becomes a challenge to really stay as sharp and as focused as you were there in phase one when everything was nice and fresh.
No, I'm still doing it. I've got a couple people around me that really push me too. My significant other stays right on my tail feather.
All right. Well, good. And I think looking for ways, I know I pushed you last time to start to keep an eye out for some service opportunities, ways to be of service so that you can keep that connection and that accountability.
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
I'll do that. We did get a couple cases of Narcan. We're gonna go around and hand out a little bit. So that's something I figured we'd do. I got a membership at the skate park last week for a year, and I was talking to the guy that runs it, and he does like lessons and classes, and there's volunteering you can do there. So I thought that would be cool, like get it, kids and stuff, and do something that I love. So I think that'll be pretty neat.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, good. I think that's some good progress. And, like I said, one of the best ways to keep things fresh and avoid the trap of getting complacent is to push yourself to engage in some service and stuff that takes you out of your head. And I think you're on track with that. So that sounds great.
Thank you.
Good. Well, keep up the good work, Mr. Barfield. Great job.
Thank you.
All right, and I will just note for Court Smart before I forget that I am not expecting to see Mr. Gonzalez today, so I didn't want to confuse Court Smart. I think Mr. Quinnell, I've worked my way to our newest member. You want to unmute and tell us how you've been doing here in your first day and a half?
Can you hear me now?
I can. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yesterday, the first day out was quite a busy day. So got a lot done with getting everything set up at David Lawrence Center and St. Matt's house. Today I went to the thrift store with the vouchers and got some nicer clothes.
Good, excellent.
And I was having an issue with my phone in group meeting yesterday, so I was fortunate enough to have my mom help me out, and we got my phone repaired today. And got to spend a little time together and go out to lunch. So
nice.
Nice.
Yeah, it seems like everything's working great right now, so that's good.
Yeah.
That thing is your lifeline now that you're with us. So I thank your mother for helping you get up to speed with that. It'll be very, very important. Take good care of it.
Yeah, it was a big concern of mine. It wasn't after the meeting yesterday. So
sure. So anything in the first day and a half that's maybe been confusing or frustrating, anything that we can help with at this point?
I would like to think I'm doing good so far. I'm gonna try to do my first AA meeting tonight. I'm gonna do one of the Zoom meetings because transportation's been an issue. So I'm gonna do the 7 p.m. night big book meeting.
Okay.
But yeah. So St. Matt's was a little different getting adjusted to it, but it's definitely a nice place there, and that's going well. So
good. Well, the report that I got, Mr. Quinnell, is in fact that you're off to a good start, that you got connected with everyone, and I know the first few days are just a flurry of activity and things that you need to do, but hopefully you're already seeing that everybody's here to help, and if you have questions or need something, you just need to speak up and clue us in. If you talk to the wrong person, don't worry, they'll hand you over to the right person, and we'll make sure to get things addressed for you. As I said earlier, everybody's very, very committed to your success. If you're making the effort and being honest with us, we're going to move heaven and earth to try to help you reach your goals.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody's been extremely helpful, and yeah, that's the only impression I've gotten so far, is that everybody's, really wants to see me do well as well as myself. So
good.
That was another thing. I signed up for the Gulf Coast Runners as well to volunteer for that.
All right. Yeah. New guys represent. Everybody's in. I love it. At some point, maybe we'll have to have a phase versus phase competition. But right now, phase one is making a strong push, guys. So good, excellent. Well, we'll really enjoy it. And I think, especially right now with the pandemic, our opportunities to actually get together are limited, but this gives us a chance to, because we'll be outside and so forth, gives everybody a chance to just do something outside of the court setting, and can really be a fun way to get acquainted and dive in. And what we love about Gulf Coast Runners is that's a community group. They don't owe us anything. They just have come to love and sort of adopt the drug court program as as their favorite group of people to partner with. And so when we can get together and be a part of their events, you'll see, I mean, there's people that are up at an ungodly early hour that are happy about it. They're running without anybody chasing them. It's just a completely crazy, positive, good energy. So I love helping you guys get introduced to that and be a part of that. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds great. And I did have one concern.
Sure.
I met with my probation officer yesterday, and he had trouble finding I believe what we talked about on Thursday court, there was some funding for the drug testing.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make sure that he had whatever paperwork or whatever was needed to show that, or what may be necessary for that.
Was probation trying to charge you for a drug test, or was it just the one-time drug test fee that they charge?
No, yeah, we were just going over the costs of everything and
Okay.
that sort of thing. So.
Okay. Yeah, probation wasn't in our conversation on Thursday. And I apologize for my ignorance, but I wasn't sure, I don't know if Megan can jump in here, whether probation is charging any fee per test for your drug testing of our folks. Is that?
I think it's a one-time fee with probation.
Just the one-time fee? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that you will be responsible for, but can deal with over time.
So
Yeah,
it's the David Lawrence drug tests that are covered?
That are currently covered by a grant. And so only if you, I believe if you throw a dilute or a positive, they may charge you for it. But as long as the test is valid and clear of any substance, our grant covers the expense of that, which is a huge deal and a big benefit to everybody in our program.
Definitely. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for clearing that up as well.
Sure. The only other thing I wanted to be sure to reiterate, I know a couple of the guys did a nice job of mentioning this, but do be sure to be writing stuff down. Use that. I think you got a notebook yesterday from your case manager with phone numbers and important information in it. Really make sure that you use that. If you haven't already, see if you can try to find a little quiet space somehow tonight or in the next day or so to really go through that. Pull it out. If you've got a phone where you can store some of that information and set up alarms, great. But I like, especially for the first few weeks, I like you to go old school and have a paper backup. Keep that in a safe place so you've got it. In case that phone breaks again, you want to have all those phone numbers on paper too. But the biggest piece of feedback I get from guys in your position early on is it's a lot. It's hard to keep track of it. You're anxious about missing something. And so I just encourage you to really, as Mr. Ferreira said, focus on trying to slow it down, write stuff up, really lay out all the obligations, the drug test, the phone call, the groups, the meetings. If you do that for the first, 2-3 weeks, I think you'll find your anxiety comes down, it's manageable. You'll find that you are more confident that I'm not going to miss something. I've got it right here. I just cross it off as I go. And after several days, I think it's going to be in your DNA and you'll be in good shape. But I just really encourage that. Focus on the details these first few days. Don't try to rely on your memory. We're throwing too much at you for that to be a fair fight. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, definitely. Nikki was really helpful with getting like the first month calendar set up for me on that. I actually have my notebook right here, and
good.
I've taken my binder and the notebook with me everywhere so far, just in case.
Yeah.
Trying to get into that habit, like you said. So
there you go, and that's you're right on target. I mean, that thing is just really, really important, and I get it. After a few weeks, you'll be able to just leave that in a safe place. But for these first few weeks, I would absolutely have that in a backpack everywhere I go. And that way I'm covered. If I have a thought, wait a minute, wasn't there something that was supposed to be happening this afternoon? I'm right there. I can go to the source and look at it. And the case managers are fabulous if you have questions, or if you start to notice, hey, wait, I might be jammed up on Thursday, there's 2 things close in time, bring that to them and get their input as to how to navigate it. Don't leave yourself to guess or, or choose things.